Team. It's Levack and Goz on 104.5 The Team.
Yes, that music means it's a Monday at 4 o'clock. It's time for Monday Mirage. Goz here with you. Levack is off today. Filling in for Levack is the closer, Brian Mariano. Cue up Enter Sandman. Sort of like Enter Sandman, but not really. We'll start with the first one here. Yeah, it's a little smoother. That's right. Real or Mirage, Anthony Lynn will be the head coach of the Buffalo Bills in 2017's start of the season. Don't get tricky here and say, yeah, he'll be the head coach because it's going to be January and then he'll... No,
next week he will be.
The start of the 2017 season, Anthony Lynn will be the head coach of the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I'm going to go real here because I think that Buffalo, a lot of the people in upper management already are in with Anthony Lynn. They love him. I feel like he's turned the offense around since he took over as the offensive coordinator. I feel like all of this stuff with Tom Coughlin and Sean Payton and all the other talks of these other coaches aren't really strong enough to take over. It could change depending on what happens this week against the Jets, but I think right now Anthony Lynn's in the driver's seat to be the coach of the Bills in 2017.
I'm with you too. I think it's real. The Buffalo Bills have fired Rex Ryan to now put themselves in a win-win scenario for the fan base. If Tom Coughlin is number one, go after Coughlin. If you think he's your guy, you bring him into Super Bowls, fans will be thrilled. Hey, we got an old coach, but he's the best out there right now. If you don't get Coughlin, he goes to Jacksonville, he stays retired, whatever. Then you got Anthony Lynn there. And if he wants to be your head coach, you tell him, look, we're going to bring in a few guys, we're going to talk, but you're our guy. And from everything he's shown this season as the offensive coordinator and from the interest he's picked up, according to reports from other NFL teams, he is the guy. So if you're firing a coach, similar, we saw Tampa Bay do this before last year with Dirk Cutter, and it worked out. They promoted Dirk Cutter from OC to head coach. Bucks can kind of, sort of, depending on how much you like to gamble with luck, can still make the playoffs in Week 17. I'm with you. Anthony Lynn, head coach of the Buffalo Bills in 2017's regular season. Number 2 here, Real or Mirage, New York Jets head coach Todd Bowles will be the next NFL head coach fired.
Oh, that's a good one, guys. I'm going to go real here. I think that that's a serious chance that he could be fired, and our producer Mike James is going nuts.
Mike James is going nuts. He disagrees with you, by the way, if you can't tell.
In case through the glass that he's screaming through that he's disagreeing. But ultimately, with now you have Fitzpatrick coming again this weekend, if they lose to the Bills, where else are they going to go? So they already have an old roster. So you either make one of the two decisions we've been talking about all day, guys. Either you take away the roster, Fitzpatrick, Petty, everyone else, all the older guys, get them out of here, and you start fresh, or you get rid of the coach, and then you bring someone else in, like a Tom Coughlin,
to run the roster
the roster that you have. So ultimately, I think that's going to be the case. I think Coughlin, if he doesn't go to Jacksonville, will end up as a New York Jet next season.
Todd Bowles may get fired because of Tom Coughlin and Rex Ryan.
Yep.
So nothing of his doing, because the AFC East now has gone from Bill Belichick still doing everything he's doing in New England. Adam Gase, some fans can make the argument he should be the NFL Coach of the Year for the turnaround Miami's had. They're going to the playoffs. And because Buffalo is now, in their minds, upgrading at head coach, and the Jets would not improve going to 2017 or not making a change, Mirage for me, it will be someone else in the NFL who gets let go. Who that may be, Marvin Lewis may be in Cincinnati, could be a guy.
See, now, because the way you phrase this, I could have went Marvin Lewis, but I think Marvin Lewis would retire before he's fired.
And he does have a year left. They gave him an extension after last year's playoffs.
I think he would retire before he is fired. So since it's fired, I went with Todd Bowles, but...
Resign? Are we going to use that to get real
depending on what you put on there, to not be coaching the team that he's coaching now, then yes, probably Marvin Lewis.
All right, so this one, hopefully the wording will be tougher for you to weasel and mirage your way out of. Real or Mirage, the New York Giants want to play the Seattle Seahawks in the NFC wildcard round?
That's a mirage. There's no doubt in my mind I'm the biggest Detroit Lions fan this weekend because I want the Detroit Lions to beat the Green Bay Packers. I would much rather go to Detroit and play Detroit in the first round of the playoffs than I would want to go to either Seattle or Green Bay. And a lot of the stuff we mentioned with Seattle, Russell Wilson's not completely healthy. The defense isn't as good in years past, but you still have to travel to Seattle. And that team, Pete Carroll, I despise him, but he knows how to win big games. And that just worries me. It worries me going to Seattle. I'd much rather go to Detroit.
Wrong. Finally, you're wrong. Real. The Giants want the Seattle Seahawks. This can work out for New York. Now, going to the road, the 12th man, if we did a ranking of one of the toughest places to play in the NFL, I'll put Seattle and the 12th man right there. Yeah. But this team we're talking about with Seattle, without Earl Thomas, without a running game, Russell Wilson being injured, in the NFC West, it's not good. Go through the schedule and look at Seattle and think, who has really impressed you? They have a win over the Patriots, sure. But besides that, this Seattle team is just not as good as people want them to be. Is it because there's so many questions after the Cowboys? Do people not want to buy the New York Giants because their offense has been so lackluster? I don't know what it is, but I'm fine with Seattle. The Giants should want them. Detroit impressed me last night, even though they lost to the Dallas Cowboys.
What did they impress you with?
They almost won that game to the third quarter.
Yeah, until they had to play a whole nother second half. Come on.
Lions were in the mix. Don't sleep on Detroit this year just because they haven't been good years past. We're making almost overriding things about franchises and not looking at the 2016 teams. You want Seattle, you'll thank me when you play the Seahawks. Next one here. Real Mirage. After the Cavaliers beat the Warriors on Christmas Day, Cleveland is the best team in the NBA.
That is a mirage, guys, because if you look at the rosters, the Warriors have the best roster. There's no doubt about it. And a 1-point win on Christmas in December, who really cares? Yes, it'll grab headlines for a week, and then we'll just worry about when these teams are going to clash again in May and June. It really doesn't matter. The Warriors still have the best roster. You add Kevin Durant off a team that, yes, they lost 3-1 last year to the Cavs.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. The problem is, I understand you have the best player in basketball with the Cavs, but I think the Warriors have the better roster. So I would say the Warriors right now are still the best team in the NBA.
Real. The Cavaliers are the best. They beat him, and LeBron James didn't even have to make the game-winning shot.
They beat him in December.
They beat him in the NBA Finals, too.
Who?
Real.
Yeah.
To be the man, you got to beat the man. You should know that better than anybody else, closer. You should know that the great Ric Flair once said it. You know that. Woo! Come on.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man. Woo!
Man.
Woo! Woo!
Ric Flair. Cavs are the best team. Real Mirage, the college football playoffs, which you can hear right here on 104.5. The teams start this weekend. They will be more entertaining than the first round of the NFL playoffs.
So then wild card weekend, that's a sneaky one in there. I see what you're doing here, guys, with these. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I would probably say I would agree it is a mirage because the NFL playoffs is always going to be entertaining. That's what everyone is drawn to. So the college football playoff, right now you have Alabama's a 2-touchdown favorite over Washington. So how entertaining is that game going to be? And honestly, with Clemson, it looks like they're... Unless you live in Ohio or South Carolina, do you really care about this game? As opposed to if your Bucks get in, or I'm going to be more interested in the Giants game or whoever they're playing. Hopefully it's not Seattle, even though you want that to happen. But I feel like the NFL is still the cream of the crop. Everyone wants to watch them, and no matter what, they're going to get the most viewers on Wild Card Weekend.
It is a mirage for there at the end because you don't know who the next round opponent's going to be. You know, because of the buys and the top seed goes here, lower seed wins there. So there's always going to be that movement of what matchup could work out better. And you bring up Alabama versus Washington. If it wasn't Washington, and Washington is not, they've won a national championship the last 25 years, but they're not a power like Ohio State or Alabama. Even Clemson's getting there now. They played for a national championship, and they've won a national championship. If there was some Cinderella in this mix this year, like a Western Michigan or a Boise State, that would make it even more entertaining. It'd give us some rooting interest. But I'm with you. wild card round will be more entertaining than the college football playoffs. And you have the last one. You have it for me.
Yeah, man, guys. I threw this one in at you just because, you try to throw some sneaky wording in all the other ones. But how about this one? Real or Mirage? There is a team that can beat the Patriots in the AFC playoffs.
There's not a lot of them.
Well, now that we went over the quarterbacks that are in the AFC playoffs, but I think there are teams.
I have one.
Okay.
Again, not saying they would, but they have given them the best chance, and they could, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs secondary is great. They crushed them about, 2 years ago on that primetime Monday Night Football game. Good secondary. Tyreek Hill's a big play guy. Running game's good enough with Spencer Ware. Alex Smith is going to not blow it for you, maybe not win it for you, but more likely to win it for you than blow it for you. Andy Reid could get a bye week at one point in there to get to the AFC title game if they catch Oakland this week. Give me the Chiefs as the most likely in a team that could beat the Patriots.
And I think they're the best three-phase team in the NFL right now. Their special teams is by far one of the best going. I do agree this is real, but my team is different. I'm going to go with the other experienced quarterback in the AFC, and that's the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Ooh.
Le'Veon Bell has been amazing over the last month and a half. You get Antonio Brown, who's heating up. If Roethlisberger gets that playoff feel again, they could be hanging around. Questionable on the defensive side. I understand that, especially going against Tom Brady, but they can run the ball, they can score quickly, and that always votes well to go against the Patriots. Watch out for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
There it is. Real Mirage. It's really over, sadly. You did a good job, closer. You don't win or lose that game. Maybe you do.
That might be a mirage.